And we'll go for 2 hours and end on time. So, yeah. Any logistics from any of you?
No, I may need to stoke my fire at some point, but not right now. And I may not too.
Okay.
Say again, Jo?
I may need to put some wood on my fire, but I may not as well. So.
Okay.
And from my side, I'm on a training space, and it may happen that someone will enter this space where I am, just to let you know.
Mm-hmm.
I can see the transformational space oozing out of your screen. Fresh in Poland with all these trainings and huge training spaces.
Yes, we just came out from the hill from School Lab, so there's a lot going on.
Yeah, when is there not a lot going on? That's almost the topic of us meeting here. Abundance.
Yes.
And yeah, thank you for showing up and for following your curiosity in this topic. I want to say this WorkTalk emerged from a collaboration that was seeded in the archetypal woman's journey. And that's how Sónia and I ended up saying yes to, or Sónia asked me whether I would do this, and it's an experiment. So let's see where this goes. And women creating abundance is something that both of us had really alive in us. And I have that, I was just sharing with Sónia before, I get a lot of women saying, and I know that also from myself, is, I would like to do this, but I don't have the money. I would like to go to this training, but I don't have the money. And there's a lot of money scarcity, but it doesn't have to be only money scarcity. It's also time scarcity or other resources that might be scarce for people, and especially for women. And my curiosity is mainly about how is that? How is that even possible in an abundant universe and in a way that women are everything. We are archetypally everything. We are connected to everything. We know so much intuitively. How is it even possible that I would have scarcity as a woman, that I would have that in my life? And then essentially I also I'm interested in creating different results. And so how does that go to create abundance? Yeah.
And from my necessity is to really empower women to go through this process of exploring what is actually, how come they are sourcing scarcity. So in what I'm exploring also is that scarcity is not just about the money, as you said, Julia. It has several layers, and I see that the focus sometimes is about the money, but when I start exploring more and more, there's a scarcity of love, or a scarcity of people, of time, of energy, and there's a root to it. And what is the root? Where is it actually coming from, and how is it spreading? And one of the ways it manifests is through money. And what comes to me is that it is very connected to value and how I perceive myself as being valuable. And if I'm perceiving myself as being not enough, I am sourcing scarcity. And this is where I also want to go and to explore and dive into this. And do you have anything else on this, Julia?
No, I share your interest in this. What is at the root of it? There's a root, and that has nothing to do with the material manifestation of it. That's just the expression of it. So yes, I'm also here for that.
Okay. And yes, I have an impulse to go to the first experiment.
Well, yes, yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Oh.
So the experiment is to have this question of where is it that you have scarcity in your life? Where is it happening? Where are you seeing that happen? And bring it into the space. There's an area, a specific area where this is happening.
Or areas. There might be more than one area. Are you wanting people to speak now, Sonia? It's not clear to me.
Yes. So dive into the question and bring it into the space. Where are you sourcing the scarcity in your life?
Yeah, for me, there's a very big place, and my scarcity is in sourcing love. This is like a really, and I haven't had it to the level I have it now. This is huge. Yeah, being able to source love. So for me now, the belief is, love is scarce.
And when you say sourcing love, Jo, how does that look like? How does that manifest?
So if love,
Is
all
it
the love is there, or how does the scarcity of love manifest?
Yes, what does that mean? It's love is an idea, it's abstract. And how is that happening actually in your life? Is that there is not people around you, or are you not experiencing connection?
Yeah, and it's really interesting because this is with one person. And if I don't have this connection with one person, it's like I can have love from other people, but it's nothing without this love connection with this one person. It's a really, really interesting, it's a really interesting place to be. I've never had this before. It's like I go forward and they step back, and this shift's happening. And yeah, there's something around not really finding it hard to accept. Yeah, I feel scared about, I feel scared that I don't actually know what love is. And so this thing of this idea that I have of love is what is lacking. So it's the idea of what love is lacking.
Thank you.
In my life, there's lack of time and space to do no linear expression of things. I got to work, and that takes over most of my time. And then there's the excuse of, oh no, I'm tired, I don't take my out of my control. So there's a lack in that, of creating spaces to do that. There's also a lack in having time to pondering and wondering about life, having those pauses during the day or sometime in the week to really dedicate a time in my day or my week that I give space for my wanderings and my ponderings of life and what I'm doing and what's the world doing and what other one's doing. And hearing Joe related to love, what's come for me is a lack of loving others. I have a lot of blocks on loving others. I'm aware that I'm surrounded with love all the time. And there is a lack in me to know how to love others. That creates a blockage for intimacy from me. Or even if it comes from others, I resist to that because I don't know how. So there's this presenting myself as not reachable, distant, busy. And I feel really sad about that because what else in love? What else in life if not loving, even with the suffering that may bring, that opportunity to feel love in a full. And I sad to say that I don't think I ever experienced that experience. There's a lot of blocks in me to love others. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Teresa, for bringing that distinction in about loving others, you know, being able to love others, because for me it's the other way around. It's I'm not loved. There's a lack of love in loving me. Like I can love other people quite easily. I can see something that I just do really naturally. Where for me it's allowing, I think it's maybe allowing other people to love me. Something like that. And there's also a piece of it where I could also love others more.
Teresa, I had a question for you still about, do you mean loving others in terms of intimate relationship love, or do you mean in general, also friends, family?
It seems to me that is in general. And generally there's this resistance to fall in love. And this resistance to love others. I have a story that love is painful. Loving others is painful. So I somehow keep myself on safety of that, of not going, like the word falling in love. I don't fall in. I stay on the edge of it. Yeah.
And if you lean into that, is it about creating intimacy and connection, this falling in love that you're talking about? Having these spaces where you are really close to someone and having this intimacy.
Yeah. And lean in it, lean in the fear of the unknown, the fear of that vulnerability that is there. I don't I've been watching me and observing that I'm out of that. Even the possibility of leaning into that, I'm already like, oh, it's scary. And it's this idea that I'll lose myself. I will disappear if that is the case. If I lean into that and fall into that, I will disappear. I won't be in charge. I won't be in control. I'll be. And the scariest thing is that I'll be. And the story is that I'll be abused and used in my fullness of being in love. So there's, yeah, that's that.
Thank you.
And it seems to me that it became such an important realization for me that I don't experience that, the love. And even the idea of being in love without being, without the other ones loving me, just the experience of having that energy in me is so beautiful in my idea of, wow, just having that heart beating and that what love could be in this being. Yeah.
Thank you. My scarcity is mainly around, well, I can relate to the love part, although it's not so prominent. But when it comes in phases, I get into, I don't even perceive it as a scarcity so much. So I might even be a bit numb to that. And mainly for me, it's money, financials, and the other part is people. Like I get into this scarcity of people around, circle, having scarcity of a circle, or people around with which I can physically create and be with, and like having a physical circle around. I'm in some scarcity with that. Yeah, and I notice that when I'm in this, I want to say that I notice when I'm in the scarcity is really the story running, because I find then the evidence, but if I looked in a different direction, I would see the evidence for something else. It's really, it's like a pair of glasses that I put on. I can see that. You know, I might be running my story that I don't have any money, but I just don't look into my account and there has been money coming in. Or I can run with the story that I don't have a circle, there's not enough people. Maybe it comes back to no one loves me, or not enough people love me, or whatever. But then I could look around and I would see, well, there's actually really, I mean, I know I have really amazing people in my life, and I have a circle. So it's like a pair of glasses, or a reality, an identity into which I step, a scarcity identity.
Thank you, Julia. I see, for me, it's the money. I don't have enough money to do the things that I want to do. And I hold myself back when I do have money, because I may need it at some point. And it's really important to be aware. And then I create these circumstances where I spend money in other things that are not nourishing for my being. And I did the experiment to stop and write down how much I'm spending in these things. And then I noticed that I'm spending more than I would spend in doing, for example, a dancing class. That is something that nourishes me a lot. And then there's also this thing of not checking the bank account and having this story running that I don't have enough money, and having this mechanism of not going there so that the story keeps on running and the fear becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. And then there's this pressure, this horrible pressure of what am I going to do? And this is connected to this problem thing I have a problem. And so there's this constant fear running. And this scarcity, it's like this, it's feeding this problem bubble that I'm in. And I see that there's also with the people around me and the isolation of, I don't have people around me, or people don't call me, or they don't reach out to me. And I'm noticing again how my survival strategies are designed to keep this running. So I just discovered this energetic thing that I do, and this was really unconscious, and I push people away with this energetic thing. And I experimented here in the trainings of just moving closer to people when I'm in that mode of isolating. And I sense this energetic structure melting. And I started sensing people. Even if I was not talking with people, I was just like, it's like, it's a warm ocean of people around me. And I noticed when I did that people started coming to me and talking with me. So this is the beginning of the research, and I want to keep on diving into this because it's a very strong, it's a strong mechanism that I have, and it's connected to this scarcity thing that I have. And yeah, there's this intimacy also, I don't have enough intimacy with someone. And then when someone is hugging me, I want to push them away. There's this fear and disgust. There's a disgust of someone being close to me, and I don't want that. But this is another layer of my research.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I had this insight now about the love and the lack of loving others, and it came this question, if it's actually the love or if it's lack of passion. So it just came to me now. So I just want to put that out there. The fire passion about life and about things and about ideas and about others, with others, that fire, that, yeah, I just want to share that it came to me now.
Are you saying that is what you're missing? What you have
The lack.
The lack of.
Yes, somehow, when the passion is there, somehow I put the lid on. It's like, oh, not too much. Or I pick up that the other ones are finding it too intense, so I put the lid on. or it come to me, my mom say, don't be so happy, you know, it won't last. That, you know, or why are you so excited about it? You know, that kind of, yeah, it just came to me now. It gives me a passion, child, and somehow the lead was put on me to be more easy to have around, I guess, something like that. And even when I have ideas, you know, there's this woo of a idea of a passion about it, and my mind goes, oh, I can do it. And then somehow I oh no, that, you know, for whatever reason, I come.
And Teresa, is there a fear there when this outburst is in you, and there's this thing of the ideas, and in that moment where you notice that you start bringing it down, is there a fear?
Yeah, it's a fear. It's a fear to be judged, fear that others put the lead on me, so I put the lead first. A fear of, yeah, saying things like, oh, you know, you're just dreaming. That's not possible. It takes me sharing this here back when I was a child. Now there was a lot of this. You know, you live in a dreamland. This is illusion. That won't work. And so somehow I found the strategies there. I do it myself before anybody does it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So feeling in control because I'm the one doing it. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Yeah, and it's so automatic. I notice it's so automatic that it's like, wow, what? And then I notice that sometimes that idea vanishes, gone. It's like, oh, I wanna take the lid off. I took the lid off, and now where is it? Oh, it's gone. Even that, you know, there's that vanishing of the, yeah. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm really curious about listening in this space and hearing about the scarcity and getting a sense of this contraction and being really held in a small space. And you talked about a problem, Teresa, and how something feeds the problem, and it's like this keeps this all in this contraction space. And it seems that to me that there is a lot of channeling or funneling going down that fork, and there's also this other fork of expansion that is not easy to access. And I'm curious about, I guess the question is, why is the nature of so many of us to go down the scarcity route and not take the expansion and abundant route? And I feel scared saying this here, but this is what's alive in me at the moment.
And I think it's an illusion. I think it's a great segue. It's an illusion in a way. I think, Sónia, it's time for the distinction. What do you think? That's what I sense is, you know, what we shared is that's what we're creating. So what you shared in terms of the scarcity that you're creating the scarcity in abundance. So it's an illusion to believe that we're not creating abundance. Yeah. We are creating abundance.
Yes, and somehow it's this there's this story that what is happening, I'm not a source of it. So I'm not in power, I am a victim of it. And in fact, what is happening is that there's this abundance of scarcity going on in several areas, and I am at source. I am the one who's creating that. And in naming all of these places where I'm creating this abundance of scarcity, there's this awareness of, well, in fact, I'm doing this. I am the one who is making this happen, is making this possible. So how this thing of not being aware of my own power, my energetic body, and how I am doing this magic is the trap, actually, to stay in this disempowered space. And if in moving into this other identity of I am the creator of this, and there's a lot of this in my life, this is abundance, it's the creation, then this shift, this small gap is created, and in this gap it's possible to start sourcing a different result, to create something different. So it's like a switch. Where am I putting my switch, in what side?
Well, it's like what I see is like it's this, when as you speak, Sónia, it's this hose, it's this garden hose, and it's the water is fully on, the tap is fully on. I'm holding the hose, and I get to choose into which direction I pour it. Like I hold it, and I can hold it onto concrete, and it's like, fuck, there's no flowers there, but I'm blasting this amount of water still. Like I'm blasting the same amount of water, or I can go like, okay, I'm just holding it towards the flower bed or something, or towards a like soil, and then eventually something grows. It's like, this is the source, and I feel a bit scared with how responsibility can be perceived on this, in this old thought, where in very subtle ways that, you know, oh, even if you think like, oh, I'm the source, or shit, so it's my fault, or wow, I'm a bad person for creating scarcity and sourcing abundantly scarcity. And that doesn't help. It really is like, this is actually exciting news. I'm really excited to hear that, because it gives me possibility to do something different. And if I don't know how it goes, well, great, then it's for me to find out. And the pain of sourcing what we source is also welcome. I mean, it is painful to lean into that, like you said, Teresa, you know, to realize, wow, actually, I don't know how to source love, or
Yes, it's not about using the distinction to go into the beating up. It's like you said, Julia, to take off the glasses and acknowledge the creational force in each one of us, and see the pain of it, of what is happening, and letting the pain flow, the sadness, the anger, the fear, the joy, and then, okay, how can I move from here? What's my next step? What can I experiment with this? How can I start moving this creational force into a different thing and play with it? and become this magician, this creatress in action. And this,
you have more?
and this is the proposal. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and I want to say, add to that, that we are creatresses. Like, we're born for that. We're born to create. And so we are already doing what we're born to do, which is to create. And the question is just, like, maybe you want to create something different, and that's what we're here for. That's what I'm here for. How do I learn to create different results with all this creation force that comes through me, that comes through you? And yeah.
And I have
It
another
seems-
thing coming up with what you just said. That is this, there's a big lie going on. And this big lie is what is keeping women trapped in this modern culture construct. That is, I am not a creator. I don't have the power. And by believing this lie, this story, for example, Teresa, like you said, oh, I'm being too much, and so before someone puts the lid on me, I'll put it to be in control. And so it's being a fish and not being aware that we are a fish. It's swimming and not being aware that I swim, that I'm a swimmer. It's being a fighter and believing that I'm a flower and I'm not a fighter. And doing these fighting movements and these swimming movements and saying, I'm not doing swimming movements, I'm not swimming. And this is what's happening with sourcing the scarcity. I am doing the movements to create scarcity, and I'm believing that I'm not doing that, that I'm not a creational force. And this is the movement, that this is the invitation to awaken to this, oh, I'm a creator. I'm all the time, I'm constantly creating and sourcing things. And I really, my research is that the not being aware of the energetic body, especially being a woman, is the source of this.
Can you say that again about the energetic body, Sonia? Say more about that.
Yes, it is this. I have a physical body and I'm moving with my body, and then I have an intellectual body. And as a woman, I also have this connection to my emotional body, but even this, there's this thing of you're too much, don't feel, don't, all these things. And then the energetic body does not exist, except in some traditions, but in modern culture, there's no access, there's no play field to the energetic body. To what are the resources of the energetic body? What am I actually doing with it? And in not being aware that it exists and not being trained into the skills and resources of the energetic body, it's like the fish that is swimming and thinks it's not swimming, or like a fire that is burning an entire forest and, oh, I'm not burning anything, I'm not a fire. And by gaining this this awareness of, I have these tools, like I was saying before, I have this survival strategy and I'm pushing people away. I was not aware of this. I'm creating this. So it's, how can I shift this and be more aware and train this? By what you were sharing before, Julia, connecting to my purpose. Why am I here in this WorkTalk? And when I connect to my purpose, I'm using also my energetic body, and I'm feeding the field. I'm creating, I'm doing magic. And so when I say, I don't have enough, I'm not enough, I don't have love, I am sourcing this, I am creating this with my feelings, my energetic body, with my intellectual body. All of this comes together. And so coming back to this, to the energetic body and developing these skills, it's an important step for women to regain their witchness and to start changing things, really impacting the world around, the circles around.
Could you say more about what movements do women do that creates scarcity, lack? You know, like the example that you gave about the fish, and the example that you give about energetically keeping people away. What else? What else do we do energetically in our energetic body that creates that? What is the movements that we do? Can you give me examples of things that
Teresa, you said something earlier that you do. You shared something that you do.
Yeah, I'm aware of what I do. I want to know what else is there that I may not be aware that I'm doing or others are doing.
And
I'm curious about.
And that's the research. That's really the research of. I shared this example. There's this energetic ball that I have that is pushing people away. And I know some of the mechanisms. There's anger. I'm putting anger in this energetic ball that does this. It's like a spiky thing going on and says, "Don't come here." And I'm feeding this with these thoughts of, "I'm alone. Nobody loves me," and it's a self-sustaining mechanism. And what is yours? So you just share that you put this lid on. There's something energetic there going on. And by connecting with your energetic body and using your sensor, you start getting there's this thread that you start pulling, and the thing starts unraveling. And it's not about changing it. It's about being aware of it, and then practice the muscle to putting it down and doing something different. And this is, and it's a training. It's a muscle to be trained to become a witch, to be the witch.
Yeah, and I sense also that, like what you said, Sónia, about like not having learned to use the tools is one big part. And so we're using them unconsciously all the time. And one thing is, where your attention goes, your energy flows. So if I keep thinking, "Oh, I'm insignificant, I'm no one, who am I to change the world? Who am I to earn a lot of money? Who am I to be loved? Who am I?" This is creating an energetic field. This is creating this is creating your reality. And that you can shift that. You can put your attention somewhere else.
I notice in me that a lot the results, I'm often focused in the results, and if the results somehow don't seem possible, then I cut it off. Cut it. And I see this being such an important thing in so many of us. It's like, "Oh yeah, I want that, and that needs to be like this and this and this and that, or that's not going to happen, so I don't do anything. I don't do any step. I don't do any research. I don't do any inquiries. I don't reach out. I don't." The attachment to the results, in my experience, seem to be, and how hard it is, even, the concept of, "Oh, that's too hard."
Yeah, and Teresa,
this.
That links directly to what you shared earlier, to what your mother said about you're just dreaming.
Yeah,
it seems to be linked to that directly. Because if you were just dreaming it up and holding energetically space for that dream, you wouldn't know the result. You wouldn't know how exactly it goes, but it could unfold. And that's been cut off. This is a real crime that happens. I'm angry about that. how children's dreams are being cut off. There's so much wisdom in it, and rather than learn to distinguish and discern where am I in a fantasy world and where am I actually having a dream, a vision that I need to move towards, like dreams have been crushed. Your dreams have been crushed over and over again. So it makes sense that you would go and say, well, this result is impossible. You know, if I think about it and I think it through and I need to know every step, it's not possible. So I just don't do it.
Yeah, stay small.
Stay small, stay reasonable, stay sensible, be sensible.
Accepted, yeah. Or the norm of what everybody's doing. Yeah. Yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah, and I want to say also that I have had these creation tools. I've created from source before in my life. And so I can have these tools and something can happen in my life and I can lose access to those, which is what happened. And the really beautiful thing is that all I've got to do is re-unlock that door and the access is back again. This is something that I'm noticing. And there's something about the energy and the energetic center being on the physical center. And this is something also with creation for me. And yeah, this is for me energetically creating from source. And it's yeah, I don't know what more I want to say, but this is what's alive for me at the moment.
Yeah, I'm glad you're saying that. And I believe you. I believe that you have a lot of tools already in your bag, and consider that there's a whole category of witchery that you haven't even considered. Like the witches have been burned and the witchcraft is only re-emerging. And there are new tools to be developed by you probably even, so this is abundant. The capacity of women to be connected to energetics and create energetically is abundant and limitless.
I'm sitting here and I'm feeling a lot of with this conversation. I can just feel my whole being expanding, my energy field just growing and glowing. I feel so much joy about the conversation that we're having and the discoveries. I feel really glad about the distinction that Sónia and Julia brought about we all create in such abundance. We do this with scarcity. This really lands for me greatly.
And I mean, to be able to create something different, we're thinking to do an exercise, or maybe we could do that in breakout rooms in pairs. What do you think, Sónia?
Yes.
We've distilled already some, but to have a listening space and a curious question space where you unfold more of what is at the root of your scarcity, what belief, which story runs at the root, like the core, like what is at the core of your scarcity creation. And so this would be a space where you really are with each other and in service of each other, to find out what is at the root of your scarcity. What is it that you're creating actually abundantly? Why are you sourcing the scarcity in abundance?
And it's like going down the elevator. The person that is listening asks questions when there's this sensation, there's something here, like be this space to support the person that is speaking to unfold and go to the next level until there's this root that is found, this sentence, this emotion, something like this.
Yeah, feelings, emotions are welcome in that space.
Do you have any questions? before going into the breakout rooms.
I notice I have this, I already notice I have this thing that I don't have the sentences, and this is an abundance of scarcity. I already have this happening in me.
Yeah.
And I actually feel glad to discover that.
Yeah, and it looked like there was a feeling connected to that, and I think that's relevant. That there's this.
Yeah, I'm scared. I'm scared that I'm not going to get it right. I'm scared that I'm not going to be of service to the other person. I'm scared that I'm not going to be able to be what the other person needs me to be for them to discover that.
Yeah. Thank you. And I again, yeah. Let's just go into the breakout rooms. I'll keep that for later. I think there's some gold there.
I can feel liquid.
Will you create the rooms, Julia?
Yes. Oh yeah, I need to do that. Okay. Okay. So let's do 8 minutes. 8 minutes each. Does that still work, Sonia?
Yes, it works.
I would still do 8 minutes each and then come back in here. So I will take the time. I will take the time and announce when 8 minutes are up. Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So I would like to hear just the core sentence that you found. Will you share with us?
Yes, for me it was I don't know enough. I'm not prepared. Something like this, and it's connected to this revenge going on towards people, and I'm noticing that I discovered that I'm using this. I'm pretending that I don't know, and that I'm not prepared, and so people believe that I don't know, and they don't feel safe around me. There's not this space to step into and be held in this container that I'm holding very close to me. And this is my discovery.
Thank you.
Mine is around hearing what other people say to me, and this puts a dagger in my heart, and there's so much pain involved, and this is around that I don't trust myself. So the big thing is I don't trust myself. I believe everything everybody else says. I don't trust myself. And I want to add, this is starting to change, because I'm noticing that I'm able to, I'm noticing the shift, small shifts.
Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, actually, there's more. This dagger it's like I poisoned myself with what's in the dagger. Yeah, I do it to myself. I poison myself with other people's words and I make them my own. I put the dagger in and I don't trust myself, and it's this self-fulfilling staying stuck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To me, it seems like it's something like I will do something if it's big enough, if it's for everybody to know, and if it's not for the whole world to know, then it doesn't worth it to do it. Something like that. I remember being a child and having all these big ideas of saving the world, and those ideas were cut off straight away. So somehow I lack this coming to realize what the unfold of my ideas can be, or what can I do with them, because I never somehow had opportunity for that. So when these big ideas come, I think that maybe they're too hard, or they are not big enough. No one is going to know about it, so I don't do it. It's also the idea that loving is really hard, and I'll be suffering on the corner by myself. So then I create all these big walls of energy and repel other ones, and look busy and serious, so everybody stays away. And then there's this internal war of this duality of being alone and on my own. And especially if life is not flowing easy for me, then I isolate instead of reaching out. I stay suffering on my own. Yeah, something like that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa.
Thank you, Teresa.
And the root for me is that I have like some church thing going on, and so I need to be the saint person that doesn't need more than she need, like the basics. I don't need much. And then I'm the good person, and I can make amends for my core belief that I'm actually not a good person. Like if I'm a really bad, like as if I'm a really bad person, and there's this shame of, oh my God, like this childish shame of I'm a bad person. And so if I do these virtuous things, then I'm a good person. And then I get, it's like what you do in church, you know, if you do good deeds, then maybe you can still go to heaven instead of to hell after having sinned or something. It's got this real churchy thing, flavor of being a holy person, so that a holy person doesn't have any needs. A holy person doesn't need much. And so I don't need much.
Thank you. Wow.
Thank you.
And
I feel sad about, particularly listening to you, Teresa, I felt really sad at what happens that gets put in the way of us being this, the possibility to shine as we could. And I have a question, which is, if we were to do this exercise slightly differently, and we were to find the abundant side, what would the words be around that? Like we have the core wound or the core belief, what would the other side be? and and to discover that and then put attention and energy in that, then what is possible?
Let's do that.
Yeah, that's the proposal. So the proposal now, after this, having discovered this, after having this distinction of being creators of abundant scarcity, is to go into breakout rooms and distill a necessity, a longing that comes from the being. Like you were saying, Teresa, I had these dreams of saving the world, and go to a very specific thing. And then from that, you have this necessity. And Julia, can you help me? I got lost.
Yeah, I mean, it's really about your purpose. Yeah, the necessity comes from your purpose. And you don't have to know your purpose, but that it's from, you're here for a reason. And the strategies of creating abundant scarcity serves for you to not live your purpose. It's to be safe, in a way. You know, and so we're looking at the other side now, like you also proposed, Jo, is to look at the creating the abundance in alignment with your purpose. When you don't shy away from your purpose, what is something really specific, like a specific project maybe, or a specific dream? Yeah.
And thank you. And there may be fears coming up, emotional fears. Those are great doorways for each piece to go through the next layers. And underneath, there will be this feeling of fear, because this is something that you really want to do, your being wants to do. So distill that in breakout rooms, in pairs. And
Yeah.
I propose 5 minutes per person.
Yes, so we have a bit of time after that.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm just looking at our notes, and there's some more clarity in that around, like, what is your necessity, and really writing down what for, and how much, and when, by when. So you're really specific.
And I propose to do that in the main room together.
Okay, we'll do that later together.
The source, yeah.
Okay, so we still
the
source of the abundance first. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, I'll create the breakout rooms. Okay, 5 minutes each. I will announce the shift. Okay, then, I mean, do we share now, Sónia, or is it time to write it down, make it specific? We've got 20 minutes.
Yeah. I propose 5 minutes altogether here. Each one writes down the necessity and very precisely, what do I need? When do I need it? How do I need it? If it's money, how much do I need? And write the purpose, write your purpose also. And 5 minutes for that. And then the sharing space.
Yeah. Yes, thank you.
Okay, I'll check the time and I will let you know when the 5 minutes are done, okay?
Okay.
30 more seconds. And start wrapping it up. Thank you. And I'm opening a sharing space about what have you discovered in distilling your source of abundance and your necessity, and how was it like to write down this clear necessity?
I can start. I have the necessity to empower others, man or woman, children, any human being. I have this necessity, and the purpose is have this variety of human beings. If when we have the opportunity to be authentic by being vulnerable, then diversity happen, and I drive on that. I have a wow when someone has a wow. It's like, wow, all my being gets expanded. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to work with fear. That's what I need to do, is really go deep on the fear, and work with fear. And when I'm not sure, because I need to look and see when fear clubs are happening and fear days are happening. And I know that Annika has one on the 6th, but I'm not able to join on that one. So after that, yeah, that's me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Teresa, I have a question that I don't need an answer to, but it's also something about in your purpose around, just really personally about loving, like your purpose of receiving love and loving others.
When I witness, when I'm in spaces where people are authentic, the love grows in me. Yeah, I notice that. You know, if I'm spaces where when I'm having these interactions with people that are in vulnerable and authentic, then there's this love rising in me. So I'm watching. I'm watching it. I'm seeing it. And then connection happen, and then intimacy happen, and then we kind of become one almost. It's a new thing for me to notice that. But thank you, and thank you, Julia, because that's all together in that. Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah.
I feel really glad to write this down, and I also feel really scared to write this down. And for me, I have this longing to interact with other people, essence to essence, and for others to experience this too, if that's their wish. And I notice what I'm already doing is actually really putting myself amongst people. And I'm doing this in the community that I live in, and I'm also doing this in modern culture. And I've already booked a business after 5 to go to on the 20th of September. So I will continue to get myself around people. This is without realizing what is happening, this is what is happening. And there was some conscious choice in choosing that, and I realized that it's now being put in front of me. And doing that to bring, I have two bright principles of vulnerability and courage, and to have those right at the forefront along with love. I have two other ones as well, but the vulnerability and the courage have been with me for a very long time, and they're very naturally there. So to be in those when I'm with other people, to bring my own authenticity and to invite their authenticity to be with me. Thank you.
Thank you, Jo.
Thank you.
I noticed my fear to say what I really want very precisely. It's an emotion. And there's something about I cannot ask for this. I cannot ask for things. And as I was writing it down, I was feeling more and more empowered to say exactly what is it that I need and when, and detailing the amounts. And my necessity is I want to empower women and for them to unfold and to step into their own creation and get back their authority and agency. And for this, my necessity is to keep on transforming and to go into transformational spaces, to unfold and to embody more and more my non-material value. And so for me, it's very clear, my necessity is to go to the Women's Lab that is happening in October in Portugal, and to start decontamination coaching sessions with Anna in November. So it's the 1st of November for the decontamination sessions, and the lab will be around the 16th of October. And I feel the fear of saying out loud how much I need. It's, yeah. And I need 1,200 euros for the lab to cover the training fees, the traveling, the housing and the food. And then I set a budget, a necessity of 400 euros a month. And I'm so afraid of speaking about money and saying that I want this. It was easier to write it down.
What is the fear?
What
is the fear, Sónia?
I'm afraid of being punished. I'm afraid of being too much, of being a burden. And there's this shame of that. It's like, it's what comes, it's a sin to ask. It's a sin to say out loud, you're a dirty little girl, that it's something like this. You're a dirty little girl and you should not say those things. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sónia.
Yeah.
So for me also it's around money, and what I want is I want to finish building my headquarters, which is like and I want to travel. I want to travel to Samoa and Peru and Mexico and see all these women and document what they're doing and just create from that. And the bigger purpose is, what I got from a conversation with Jo, is to create this energetic lighthouse that pulsates like a heartbeat and energetically sends these shock waves of information into the morphogenetic field and just lights up the women's hearts so that they stand in their power and create, like, to empower women to be radically themselves and create this connection to themselves, to others, or being, like, noticing the connection, being connected to themselves, being connected to others, and being connected to Gaia. And I want that also for myself, more space, making more space. And it happens when I'm really creating. I'm so in this juice. And so specifically, I need $3,000 till the end of September, and $4,000 by the end of February to cover the costs of the building, and $5,000 to travel, which is just an estimate, and I would like that by the end of October. So 3,000 by the end of September, then another 5,000 by the end of October, and then another 4,000 by the end of February next year. And this is too much. It's not realistic. And I haven't sat down and just looked at it. So this is also like, okay, my box freaks out about it. All right. Yeah. And how, I also had how. I want donations and I want gifts, like, which is the same thing, and I want exchanges. I want, like, through my value, like, not providing my non-material value, and then gaining the resources to do all the next thing. Yeah.
Oh, Julia.
I'm noticing something happen as you share, and it's a completely different experience from what I was having when I was saying what I want and need. And I felt so much joy listening to you say, I want this and this and this and this. And the amount of money, I just started, joy just came through. And so I'm this is helping me to deal with that, with this fear of saying out loud, how much do I need and want? How much do I want? Well, thank you.
Do you want to say, Sónia, how much do you want?
Yes, go.
Yeah.
And I invite you, Sónia,
Yes.
as a coaching, I invite you to connect to your purpose. You're so clear with your purpose of empowering women. Speak from that purpose, and rather than the victim of, oh, I need that money. Speak from, let your purpose speak through you. Go.
I want 102,000 euros to go to the training in Portugal. I want to go to this training. I want to do this. I'm going to do this. And I want 400 euros a month to have the coaching sessions with Anna. And I want 2,000 euros a month to live, to travel, to eat, to experience things that my being wants to experience. And I want to go to Mexico, to the beach house in February. and these 2,000 euros are a part of that. So I'm going. Thank you.
Awesome. I feel so much joy with the similarity in this group with what we want. It's so like it's like, all right, we are on this together. You know, we're doing our uniqueness in the same direction. It's again for me it's this variety, diversity moving together. It's like thank you. What a joy.
And what I want to put in the space is like, you know, like it seems like there's this a practice space of speaking what we want, speaking what I want is possibly a necessity.
But yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I want to say there that you don't have to be healed to do that. You don't have to wait until you've done all these emotional healing processes to do that. So yeah, that's a practice space.
It's like another dojo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, it's another dojo. The art
Wow.
of asking.
It links to the art of asking.
The art of asking. Dojo.
Yes. Thank you so much. Yay.
Hey, thank
What
you.
a value.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you for the space. And I see the difference from the start to where we all are now. Each face looks different and the space is alive, and yeah, really thank you.
Yes.